Hi, I'm Dr. Pamela Mertens, and I'm the head EdLink trainer. In this video, I'll show you how to use your entity management to also make entity changes as well as upload files and your KinderConnect. Okay, so let's get started. So you've already logged in, you're on your dashboard. Now, whether or not you have a renewal within a 90-day window is important here, because some of the changes that you would make inside of this entity management tool here can be made in your renewal and should be made in your renewal. For instance, the entity changes, if you're changing capacity or service hours or a spelling correction to the name, pretty much anything. If it's not critical to the operation of your business, then I recommend that you put it inside of your renewal. Start your renewal and make all the changes that you want to in there and submit it with your application. And the reason I say that is you can only have one application open at a time per site. So if you open an entity management entity change request over here, you cannot start your renewal until that entity management request or an entity change request has been approved by LDOE and is returned to you. Then and only then will your renewal button be active again. Okay, so if timing is an issue, if you are less than 30 days away, I absolutely would not use this tool over here, except for a couple of things that I'll show you here in a moment, but definitely not for making entity changes. Do those inside of your renewal, because you will run out of time and that won't be justification for an extension. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to pretend that you've already renewed, that this button not even relevant. Okay, maybe you just renewed a month ago, or you've got about 6 months to your renewal. So we're going to go over here. We're going to click on entity management. And now it takes us to this read only, semi read only, because there is a button at the bottom, or the 3 buttons, and each one of these pages also has a button that you can click on that opens up an edit entity change application. Okay, so we have to be really careful what we push. So right here, you can view all the information that's on your license and what will be printed on your license. You can see how many applications you have in progress right now. And this doesn't contradict what I just said. You can only have one application per site, but if you have multiple sites, then all the applications that you have pending or in progress will be listed here. All right. Inspections, expiration date, and so forth. Okay, but this is what will be on your license. And we're going to come to that bottom part here in just a second. Okay. So you have your entity information. Okay, take a look and see, what do you want to change? Is there anything? If there's nothing to change, then don't. Okay. Service and hours, same way. Okay. Owner management. Okay. Now, your owners will all see eligible in here, especially if you've already been in the system and you're in operation now. You should see green, the word eligible in green here on all of your owners as well as all of your staff. Okay, this just says no match because this is a fictitious entry here. Okay, and we'll come back to this. You have emergency contacts. Now, this does not require LDOE approval to change your contacts. You can add offsite here and on-site if they're listed properly within the staff pages. Okay, but you need one of each at least. You can delete here too. Deleting here does not mean that they're removed from your employee roster. It just means that they are not going to be an emergency contact. Now, this is a trash can, meaning delete. That's the same in all of your applications. Okay, and this is an edit tool, the pencil, and that's the same throughout your application as well. Don't X out of these banners. I almost wish they didn't have these X's here, but both of them, all the colors. So your blue is informational, gives you some directions. The yellow lets you know that this is what you must have. It's a little bit more emphatic. Okay, and then we have a red one, of course, that means something went wrong, and then green is always good. Okay, so the colors do mean things. Okay, so now let's go to entity documents. Okay, so we're going to leave this page. There are a couple sections in your entity documents. In the top part, you're going to see so as I said, you have two sections here. In the top section, you have the Department of Education documents. These documents are ones that will be submitted from the state that involve the inspection, your qualifications, your licensing, your CCAP. So let's look at a couple examples. Licensing docs, and you can sort this way as well, especially if you have a lot of them. Okay, you can look up all of your statement of deficiencies. Okay, and you can put date ranges, neither of these date ranges or just one of these. Everything will be listed below here. Okay, you'll be able to click on the links. It opens up a file in OnBase, and you can download that file and print it for your own records or save it to your hard drive if you need to. Okay, you can also add new files here, but your consultants, and if you notice right now, it's not active. So typically your consultants or your specialist or the state itself will be the ones that will add files here. Okay, this is more, this is your little vault filing cabinet down here. Okay, these are what I like to call little banker's boxes. That's what they look like, or filing cabinets. Okay, this is what the eyeball looks like. That will take you straight to OnBase. Okay, and if you click on the link, it'll open the file for you as well. So you have two different ways that you can look at these files. Now, these are all of the files that you've uploaded towards your application or an entity change, staff, okay, what have you. So all the files that you've supplied will be here, and they're listed from the oldest to the newest, meaning your newest is way back here on this page. I just put this one in, these two in today. Okay, so if you want to add new down here, and I'll give you some examples of why you would want to add new. So if you wanted to add a new document down here, it's a few different reasons. Okay, one would be for safekeeping. So let's say you have five employees or 50 employees. Okay, they're going to be getting their certifications renewed at different times throughout the year, and it becomes very cumbersome to maintain all of those documents, especially scanning them in and keeping them organized electronically. So here, as soon as you get them, you can scan them in, and you can put, you select which one it is. Is it for the entity, meaning the business, or is it for the staff, or are they general degrees and certifications? So if we were going to do, let's do staff docs, and you can choose from all of these. Okay, these are the personal staff docs, not your credentials. These are your staff's documentation. So if, let's see, if their driver's license changed, or they decided to use a passport or a birth certificate or whatever you were uploading for them, choose the right type, and then you'll select the file and hit save, and it will become part of this list, and it'll be at the bottom on page 3. Okay, now if we were to do degrees and certifications, okay, so this is going to cover your credentials and general degrees, or continuing education hours. Okay, so if we wanted to choose education training, okay, we can leave it general like that, but make sure that you are selecting or labeling the file correctly so that we know who it belongs to. Okay, so let me see if I can find an example for you of what I mean here. Okay, so instead of the file name here is test doc. So let's say this is for Sally Brown. We want to put Sally Brown's, let's do her CPR training. Okay, we want to make sure that the file is actually labeled consistently Sally Brown CPR 2024. Okay, that way when it's up here, you can quickly see whose files belong to who. Okay, and so can your consultant or your specialist. Sometimes we'll see this come into play when the fire marshal or health inspection is renewed mid-year. Maybe it overlaps by 6 months or so with your license expiration, which is perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, sometimes better because you don't have that renewal or the expiration looming over your head. But if you were to have an expired fire marshal inspection and your consultant says, hey, we need to get that new inspection in place here. So what you would do is get your inspection done and you'll upload it here to your entity docs. And then you'll see right here, city fire department approval, or you'll have state fire marshal. Okay, whatever the document is, all you have to do is upload it here and then let your consultant know that you've uploaded it in entity documents and they can access it and see that you're current. Okay. All right. Make sure you hit save after you do that upload though. I'm going to hit cancel this time around. Okay. Now you can sort through any of these entity documents by type, just like you would be adding. All you have to do is sort them by types. That way, if you have a lot of them, you're trying to find them, you can sort it. Okay. So now let's go over to rates and fees. Okay. So your rates and fees, you're going to have to enter when you do your edit entity change request. You're going to have to put at least a 1 in these boxes, all the boxes, even if you're grant or Head Start or nonprofit and don't charge your parents, you're still going to have to enter a 1, at least a 1. Okay. And then you'll hit your save and continue. And I'll show you how all that works here in just a moment. And then your health and safety. These are your helpful links, child abuse, neglect waivers, complaints. Okay. Now this is your KinderConnect. I'm not going to bother clicking on it because I don't have any children registered. This is a fictitious account. So when you click on KinderConnect, it'll open up and you'll see several tabs at the top, attendance being the main one that you'll use. But if you'll go to edlinkinfo.com, that's edlinkinfo.com, you will see detailed instructions, webinars, videos with explanation on how to use everything in KinderConnect, right down to the applications that you need to have your parents download, okay? So let's go back now to the actual completion of an entity change, okay? So let's go to license summary. If you recall, we had these 3 things here. Okay, we had update my license. Okay, this is where you're going to change details like center name, capacity details, age range served, and your services offered. An edit entity application will be created for your entity. Note, administration fees, and an on-site inspection may be associated with these changes. So especially with capacity, if you're changing, if you've added a classroom or ages, you will likely have an inspection scheduled, okay? We have change of location here, or we refer to them as CHOL, C-H-O-L, okay, to update your site's physical location. A change of a location application will be created for your entity, and of course, site inspections. Now, one thing about the change of location, if you're a CCAP recipient, you must get approval from CCAP before you change your location, not the other way around. Don't change your location and then let CCAP know, because that will cause, or could very well cause, an interruption in your payments, okay? If not a discontinuation. And change of license type. So this is if you want it to be a type 2, you've always been a type 3, but you no longer want to have any academic approval or CCAP. Excuse me. So you're going to change your license type. Most likely we see people going from 2s to 3s, okay? Or if maybe you're becoming a nonprofit or a religious organization and you want to go from a type 2 to a type 1, okay? But either way, for whatever reason you want to do it, this is the place that we're going to start. Now, there are 2 ways to do the update of your license. Okay, this one's clear right here. It says update license, right? Okay. But if you remember over here under entity information, each one of these pages that have information that can be edited has an edit entity button. Now it's just two ways to skin a cat. You're still going to open up an edit entity application, and it's going to take you through all the pages the same way it would if you were to select this. Okay, so if we were to check this one, let's check this one off or click on this one here. And I'll show you how you're still going to see all of this information by going to this one. This is your easiest one. This is the one I would recommend if you want to go through your entire record and make all the changes that you absolutely need to make. Now, if you know for certain that you only need to make service and hours changes, you can go straight to that page, edit entity, and then just hit save and continue all the way through. Okay, the other pages will come up, but you don't really have to concentrate on them. But the license summary page, let's click on that one. Okay, and here you have the entity information and services, and it tells you what needs to go to LDOE and what does not have to. Okay, so we have these three down here that do not require LDOE review. Okay, your update your center contacts, the emergency contacts, your social media, which is on that entity information page, and your change of location. Now, this means only your mailing, not your physical location, just your mailing address. All of these others must go to LDOE for approval, including that change of location for physical location. So you'll hit accepted and do continue to edit entity. Okay, and notice how anything that you can change is white. See, the text boxes are white. Anything that's gray, you cannot change. And this is your physical address, because remember, we're just updating the services offered at your entity, not the physical location. So we can change your mailing address. It can be in Timbuktu, as long as you get your mail. Okay, so you can change that. Okay. Now, let's say I'm going to change this. I'm going to do this as 4-5 Brown. Let's just say that this was the address that was in there for mailing. Well, now you get your mailing at the center, so you can just hit copy to mailing, and then this will copy over here. Okay. Now down here at the bottom, you have your center contacts. So you can use this as a free plug. If you have URLs for any of these social media sites, then go ahead and plug them in. Okay. And they will be shown on the School and Center Finder page. Now, if you haven't looked at a School and Center Finder page yet, let me open one up and give you an example. Let me just look up one. Okay, Baby Bear Head Start. Okay, so all of you will have a page. As long as you're licensed or certified, you will have a page. So not only do we show you the location, the address, the contact information, and if you want to change the contact information for your center, not an EdLink. In other words, you're not going to change your EdLink account. Okay, but this is just if a parent is interested in your center. Remember, this is a public view here. Then this is where you would do it. If you want to change that email, go ahead and change it here. And if you don't, just leave it alone. Okay. Now, anything that you open in an application, you may remember this, you close out and it won't hurt where you are in the application. Okay. Your application will stay open for you. So we're just going to save and continue. I don't have any changes to make to this page. And see, now we're moving through the pages. Okay. Even though maybe I only wanted to correct the mailing address, it's still going to take me through all of these pages. Okay. So how many buildings? You can change the number of buildings. This is what would require or likely require another inspection. Okay. So keep that in mind. Okay, especially if you're changing this to taking care of children under the age of 1, Okay, the safety approved crib statement as well as the cribs themselves. So it could require another inspection. So you'll sign it and date it. Now, if you do happen to change this to caring for children under 1, every time you leave your application, if you have to go to lunch, come back and finish this, then you know that would be under your pending applications and then just hit edit. You need to come back to this page because you always want to make sure that the signature is there and that the date is current, or you won't be able to submit this. Okay, it has to be the current date. Enter today's date. Okay. Now you can make your changes to the hours. Okay, and I'm going to say, you know, it looks good the way it is. Okay, so you get to your rates and fees. Now, even though, like I said before, if you are a grant funded or Head Start or nonprofit, don't charge your parents or don't have any rate changes, you still need to put at least 1 in there. Now, if you are charging rates, then you need to put your rates, your actual rates in there. Okay, so if you are charging rates as our CCAP recipients or privately owned, private funded, or private pay, you'll want to make sure you put correct rates in there. Okay, do you charge a registration fee? If you do, then select it, put the number in, and let me hit delete on that one. There we go. And you can use whole numbers or you can put the decimal per child annually. Okay, and now I'm going to hit save and continue. Okay, so my rates are different. Okay, because, or the rates have been manipulated or edited. Okay, so whether or not there were any changes in your rates isn't relevant. You still need to upload your rates verification letter or memo or bulletin that you provided to your parents when your rates changed or when they began care. Okay, so we're going to upload that. Okay, now we're going to go to save and continue. And now we want to make sure that your banking information is correct. Now, if you are a Head Start or a grant funded center and you do not need the banking information, you might recall that from your renewal application, then simply put in the information, like for instance, bank name. Make sure it's very clear that you realize that you are not trying to put in false information. Okay, so here we need at least 9 numbers. It'll tell you if you don't have enough. Okay, and we'll leave the bank account number like that. Okay, because if you don't have enough numbers here, then this won't appear. That's mandatory and you can't move forward. Same with your street name. Don't try to, you can just do 1 and then just do all W's. So that anyone looking at this, it's very clear that you realize that this is dummy information. Okay, it doesn't matter what you put there. All right, same thing down here. Don't put your name, just make sure they know that it's very clear. Okay, street name, same thing. We'll do 78, something very out there. Okay, all right, so now we have all that information. Now, as far as uploading your direct deposit authorization form, those of you who are receiving payments for CCAP, then just use the same one. You don't need to do it again. You'll browse, use the same one that you used when you renewed your application. Now, if you need to do a new one, if this is what you are changing, then go ahead and do that. Okay, download it, fill it out, make sure your banking information is all correct and detailed. Remember, this dummy information is only going to be for those people who are not CCAP, who are private pay. Okay, so now we get down here and you confirm that these changes are made on the behalf of your entity. And we're just going to choose director. Put your full name in there. And this is your date of birth. Okay, so if you get an error right there, just read underneath it, it'll tell you, because it's sometimes confusing between today's date and date of birth. Okay, so now you'll see your change summary. These are all the changes that you made Okay, these are the documents that you uploaded. Okay, so we did make changes to these because there was nothing in there, and we put 1. All right. So now this is the old value. This is what was there before. Remember, I changed this to dummy information. Okay. And banking information, I uploaded my direct deposit authorization, and I re-uploaded my rates verification notice. Okay. Now down here, we want to know why you're making the changes. And I'm just going to put new banking information. I think there were some other changes, but we'll just do that one. Okay. So new banking information, and you confirm that you've completed all the changes you need to make at this time. You hit accept. And now, before we do it, I want to leave it just as it is. I want you to take a look at things. Okay. Now remember, we went to entity management and then entity change. Okay. And I'm going to go through that one more time. So we're going to submit for review. Now, once we submit, this is what it looks like on your dashboard. It will be pending. Okay. And you can view it, read only. Now, even though it looks like you can make some changes, you can't. All right. Then you have withdrawal application, and this is a 4-step process. So there are no accidental withdrawals. Okay. If you withdraw or cancel, we cannot retrieve that information. So keep that in mind. All right. So now what you do is you wait from LDOE to review it. It could take up to 90 days. More than likely, it will not. But you must be patient. Let them work through it. I would say it's probably going to be no less than 2 weeks. If it is, that's amazing. Okay. But give them time to work through it. This is why in the beginning, I was recommending and cautioning you not to do the entity management or the edit entity changes if you are close to renewing, because you now must wait for that to come back before you can start your renewal. Sometimes you have to, though. Like I said, if it's banking information, you really have to get that current information in there right away. Okay, just let your consultants know what's going on, because if your consultants know that you've submitted an edit entity change application and that your renewal is coming up, they're more likely to expedite the banking information change so that this will be available to you quickly. Okay. All right. So that is it in a nutshell. So I'm going to review this real quick. So if we want to do an entity change, we'll go to license summary. Okay, and we're going to see update license here. And we'll go ahead and click on that and work through the pages, make all the changes we want, review it, and submit it. Okay. Now, there are no fees right now, but there will be in the future. Nominal fees, not too much. But right now, I believe you can make these with no payment. Okay, change of location. Again, all of these will be active. You click on the change of location, but remember, you need to make sure you talk to your CCAP administrators, your provider certification administrators, to make sure that you've done everything you need to do if you're a CCAP recipient before you change locations. If you're privately owned and not a CCAP, or your private pay, I should say, then you can begin your CHOL and just work through the pages, look at the review, and submit. Okay. Change of license type. Change of license type is the same thing. Make sure that you talk to your consultant, let them know that you're interested in changing the license type, just so that they know it's coming down the pipe. Okay. Especially if you're going from a type 3 to a type 2. Because there will be some discontinuation and closures of CCAP that need to take place. So make sure they keep everybody in the loop before you click on any of these buttons. Okay. And then we had the owner information here. Okay. The owner management, the change of ownership. Okay. We're going to do the same thing. So a change of ownership will be created using this button here. It'll transfer ownership to another business entity or to another person. Okay. So you'll click on here answer the corresponding questions, review it, and submit it. But again, make sure that before you fill out a CHOW that you have spoken to your licensing consultant. Ask those impertinent questions. What is the process? What do you need from me? How long will this take? All those important questions you need to read. Do your homework on that. That way you'll know the process, okay? And that is it for the entity management and your edit entity change applications. So we're back on our dashboard and now we just wait. And thank you again for watching the video, and hopefully you will catch the staff management and the financial management videos that are also posted. Thank you very much and take care.